Note the disclaimer. It's time to look at the darker side of Family Guy. I stand by the opinion that Family Guy has had some brilliant episodes. Some have been real classics that have redefined our standards of comedy animation. But there's been some Family Guy episodes that have been bad.
No matter what you do for the rest of your life, you'll always be garbage.
And I mean just awful. These are episodes that just get me at my very core of anger for just how lowbrow and cruel they can be. Anti-intellectual speeches, horribly violent scenes.
Hey Joe, open your eye.
Infanticide.
I've put Stewie in the oven a bunch of times.
School shooting jokes. Domestic violence. Maybe I'm alone on this, but I find it really hard to laugh at some of these concepts. Some of these scenes feel like they belong more in a horror show than an animated comedy show. With that being said, if you like these Family Guy episodes, good for you. It's just my personal opinion, and purely comes down to personal taste. Just a quick warning that this list does contain more violence and offensive scenes than usual, so if that sort of thing bothers you, you may want to skip this one. So, without further ado, let's take a look at what are, in my opinion, the top 10 worst Family Guy episodes of all time. Number 10.
Christmas time is killing us.
Love Black-Shelley. Here's an idea. Let's watch a straight 20 minutes of an ugly breakup. Doesn't that sound like fun? This episode has to be on the list because it is the episode that began the tidal wave of bad Family Guy humor. The episode starts the first 3 minutes with repeatedly telling us the politician's wife killed someone.
Laura Bush killed a guy.
Laura Bush.
Jeering at Joe's handicap, calling a woman a well, even I won't say that.
Yep, with a capital C.
And wraps this first 3 minutes up with the sounds of domestic violence mixed with Dr. Seuss. I have never seen a show so effectively crap on so many otherwise decent concepts in the space of 3 minutes. The rest of this episode is basically about Brian feeling bad for not jumping his new girlfriend on the first date, because Cleveland is laughingly sleeping with his girlfriend.
We good, Brian. We good.
It teaches young impressionable minds it's bad not to immediately jump into sex in a relationship. And if you don't, you're gay and your girlfriend will leave you. Isn't that great logic? It's just a very sore, unpleasant episode. And if you're still with me, let's press on. And number 9, Brian Griffin's House of Pain. The episode starts off pretty promisingly, with Stewie fighting in a jet with Rupert in some very imaginative scenes. Sadly though, it immediately plunges afterwards into Brian being a pretentious jerk about his artwork. We then proceed to Stewie falling down the stairs and cracking his head open. Literally.
Stinks. When you were babies, I used to knock you kids out every month or so. Sometimes by accident, sometimes when the Patriots lost. You just gotta cover it up and eventually it all works out.
How? How? How am I supposed to feel a shred of support or interest in Peter?
He's an asshole.
There's a nice side plot with Brian turning a script into a shallow sitcom.
With my chimp sidekick?
But it doesn't save giving brain damage to an infant and then spending the episode covering it up. I just feel really dirty watching this episode. Why would a comedy want to remind me of parents that hurt their children? It makes the entire family out to be just horrible human beings. This one is a definite choice for the list. Number 8.
Killing us. Killing us.
Screams of Silence.
Crap! Oh my god! He must have autoerotically asphyxiated himself!
This one is notorious for its discussion of domestic violence, and I was told it was a bad one, but I have to admit, I had mixed feelings about it. Basically, the episode is about Quagmire's sister and her domestically abusive husband. At the beginning, it handles the subject with dignity, and it's not just an off-color joke.
I want the girl I grew up with back. I want my sister back. Brenda, I love you. Please make the right decision.
I actually really liked some of the jokes in this one. Iraq lobster. To me, that's genuinely funny.
Death to America.
Apologies for this jokes to people from Iran. But the episode gets really ugly in the second half, where our three heroes decide they should just kill off the husband in the woods. We then get some really unpleasant and grotesque scenes in the woods, including a strangling scene, and the entire thing getting covered up. I do think this is one of the worst, but I also think people should watch this one.
I choke myself every day, you bastard.
Christmas time.
Number 7.
Killing us. Killing us.
Vestigial Peter.
Hi, everybody!
What the hell is that?
Oh my god, it's a little me!
Normally, I give Family Guy a hard time for being crass, cruel, uncomfortable, painful to watch, or just plain mean-spirited. But this episode is just stupid. Peter gets a talking growth on his neck that talks just like him, except in a voice so annoyingly high-pitched it makes Jar Jar Binks look sophisticated.
Michael rowed the boat ashore, hallelujah.
The episode is just so impressively stupid. It's irritating, it's boring, it just keeps going on and on.
Wow! 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 This is more painful than sitting through those parent-teacher cheetah meetings.
I challenge you to get through this entire episode. If you can stand to watch this episode more than once, you have better tolerance than me.
Christmas time.
And for number 6,
Killing us. Killing us.
Seashell Party. There's something to be said for keeping things simple, but this episode just didn't even try.
I'm bored.
It just feels like the writers got lazy. The entire 21 minutes is based within the Griffin house, watching the family bored during a storm. What could possibly be more boring for viewers than watching the Family Guy crew do nothing?
Feel free to join.
There is a side plot of Brian having a psychotropic drug trip, but we get basically just what seems like the animators drawing whatever they feel like.
I got an idea. How about you all sit there quietly while I make dad noises?
This goes on for a solid 60 seconds. The only part I kind of enjoyed was the way Stewie is just such a solid friend to Brian, as he comforts him through his psychotropic drug trip all the way through.
I think I'm dying. Jane Fonda. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right, buddy. Totally Jane Fonda. It's gonna be okay.
I just find there's something kind of beautiful about that. Oh, for Pete's sake! Do something! Please! It's like they're just trying to kill time! I just don't understand why a multi-million-dollar animated comedy series would do this! I'm not insulted or anything. I mean, there's no overbearing spitefulness or annoying commentary, but could they just do something? The only way to top this episode off is by dedicating the second half from time wasting to an unpleasant bickering between Meg and the family. While Meg has every right to be angry at her family, it's not exactly a pleasant way to watch the episode. You can watch this one, but I assure you, you won't be missing anything if you don't.
Christmas time.
And for number 5,
Killing us. Killing us.
April in Quahog. Have you ever wondered how someone would act if they knew the world was going to end? Would they suddenly become rude, obnoxious, and completely nihilistic to their family and friends? Well, Peter already does, but apparently he becomes even more heartless and cruel to his family now. Basically, news broadcasts make an April Fool's about the world going to end. So Peter gives his family the middle finger and does whatever he wants, even more than usual. I sometimes feel like Seth is trying to make a commentary on something, but for the life of me, I can't figure out what.
You know, this thing is bugging me.
People are horrible?
All right, I'm gonna take a
Is that it? Peter then goes on to tell his children he wishes they were never around, and for some reason his family is a little bit upset at him. Are we supposed to be feeling sorry for Peter at this point? This is a guy who openly states he beat his children as infants, gives them drugs, assaults his daughter, beats his wife, attacks random people, and cares nothing for anyone except himself. This guy deserves to be in jail, not given a turnaround where he says sorry and the family likes him again, which just happens like clockwork every episode. I find it really hard to stomach watching Peter in this one.
Well, I guess if you can't earn your kids' respect, you can always buy it.
Christmas time
Number 4.
is killing us. Killing us!
Fresh hair. Probably the most awkward Family Guy episode I've ever seen. Carter leaves all his money to Chris, so Peter decides to marry his son. And poor Chris just wants to spend time with his dad so much that he agrees to marry him. I knew the episode was going to go this way, and I was just pleading from the start. Please don't do this. Why go this route? But they did, and it's just as awkward and creepy as it sounds.
Chris, to express my love, I turn to the words of the only poet that blue-collar New England scumbags like me know, Robert Frost.
Maybe I'm not the target audience, but surely incense jokes is a small target audience. This one was just creepy and weird. Ugh. Moving on.
No, Dad.
I don't know what normal is anymore. Christmas time
And number 3.
killing us. Killing us!
Brian writes a bestseller. This episode's about, shock and surprise, Brian writing a bestseller. Brian just becomes so unlikable in this episode that I had to include it.
Not okay. Can you figure out what the problem is? I don't. How do you think I feel walking out of the back room of a restaurant and seeing Renee Zellweger?
Fresh Hair may have been about Peter marrying Chris, but at least there was a bit of a light-hearted tone to it. Brian writes a book in the self-help market, and is given an excuse to be even more egocentric and nasty than usual. And that's basically the whole plot of the episode. There is a really good final live-action part with Bill Maher, where Brian is rightfully taken down a notch for his ego over his book.
No. Outside. Outside now. Outside.
But it just still didn't make up for how much I disliked Brian through it. I know Brian can be a good character. We all do. When he pairs up with Stewie, we get a collection of the best Family Guy episodes ever made. But when his character is given this revolting persona, I begin missing our replacement friend Vinny.
Soon thereafter, a girl in the neighborhood married a black guy. So we all kind of turned our attention to that.
Christmas time
Number
is
2.
killing us. Killing us!
Herpy The Love Saw. I mean, really, what can you expect from a title like that? 4 words and they've already gone into bad taste. Anyway, let's try and give it a fair look. We start the episode with Peter assaulting his children with a whip. Yeah, that's pretty standard awful for Peter. He attacks innocent women. Yeah, still standard Peter behavior. Brian gives Stewie herpes. And there we go. You know a Family Guy episode is going to be bad when it starts by making you physically sick. Oh, the imagery for this one is just, revolting. For some reason, this episode just keeps showing us revolting imagery, as though it's trying to gross its viewers out. I've never quite figured out how gross out episodes do anything for a TV series except lose viewers. But maybe people see something I don't in this? One viewing was all I could handle of this one, and barely that. I mean, I guess if you wanted to lose your appetite or make yourself throw up, it'd be good. But bulimia isn't funny. As usual, Brian shows himself to be a dirtbag by knowingly giving everyone he dates herpes. Just an exceptionally gross and unpleasant episode. I don't recommend this one. And the number 1 worst Family Guy episode of all time is...
Christmas time is killing us.
Brian's a bad father. The entire episode premise is summed up in the 4-word title, and that's what the entire episode is. Just bitterness and uncomfortableness as we watch Brian being a deadbeat, manipulative father to his son Dylan. And we also get another side plot of Peter purposely shooting Quagmire, and they become enemies. Why does he shoot Quagmire? I don't know, they never explain it.
Now this is a gun without a safety. Quite the difference, huh?
He's an asshole.
I don't think any other episode better displays how selfish Brian can be, and how cruel and psychopathic Peter is. We spend the entire episode watching Peter be indifferent and just horrible to Quagmire, while Brian tries to mooch off his son's fame, which is just cringingly pathetic to watch for the viewer. Even the jokes in this one have this extra uncomfortable sting to them. I swear this episode was just made to annoy people. And we finish the episode off by making fun of the mentally handicapped. It also contains what I consider the most horrible joke I've ever heard.
Hey, Lois, if I was going to kill myself, do I slit my wrists this way or this way?
Sideways for attention, long way for results.
Meg is right.
Okay, I'll be in the garage.
Let me speak with you frankly for a second. Sorry to break the flow of the video with this live action. If you ever feel suicidal thoughts, call this number in the US and this number in the UK. I've also attached other countries in the description. Sorry to show you this joke. You deserve better. And with that out of the way, let's continue the review.
This one shows just how messed up our countries can be. Swear words get bleeped, but we can guide young people in how to slit their wrists. Nipples? Terrible. Suicide guides? A-OK. I have zero respect for Family Guy after I saw this scene. What writer thought people would laugh at this? Did they even expect people to laugh? Did they care? Pardon me for getting so serious about this, but this episode just made me lose my sense of humor. I know Seth knows he appeals to a teen demographic. He says so himself.
That's a comment on us.
I don't know what mountain of spite, hate, and anger this scene came from, but it represents the absolute worst of Family Guy, no exceptions. Nothing is given to the audience in this scene, just pure judgment, spite, and hate. And that's why we have a winner. Brian's a Bad Father is the worst Family Guy episode. No exceptions.
And remember, kids, TV violence is fine as long as you don't show a nipple.
On a lighter note, there were good episodes in later seasons of Family Guy, like Stewie and Brian.
I love you too, Stewie.
You give my life purpose. And maybe that's enough.
And the Simpsons crossover was exceptional. And maybe that's what to take from this. For every crappy joke, there was a good snicker in there. Do you think I missed a key episode? Do you have a least favorite yourself? Let me know in the comments. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.
Worst chicken fight ever.